There you go. You've expressed the importance of the World Cup in every way, especially financially, for FIFA, and you've entrusted the next two World Cups to Qatar and Russia. Clearly there's been controversy in both areas. Could you talk to me about how confident you are that Qatar will be a success, if we can start with them, and also advise us on which time of the year the tournament will be played?
Well, listen, this is this meeting we have today. When I speak to you, it's today in Zurich. We have the meeting with the participants, or you call it stakeholders. Yeah. It's the Players Union, FIFA, it's the clubs, it is the leagues, some federation, the six Continental Confederation of their Secretary Generals. They are there to work on this international calendar, and then to have a look, as we have already said, that we cannot play in summer in this heat in Qatar. Then we have to play in winter. And now we are making this consultation. But it's the first official consultation. So far, only the FIFA secretary, Sharon Valk, has made some contacts by telephone with different leagues. But now we bring them together, and we will identify now what is the best and what is the possible solution, when is the best moment to play in Qatar. But the decision is not yet taken, definitely not. And concerning the other one, the 218 in Russia, which is also in some, let's say, some problems actually, but the decisions have been taken, and we trust in the strengths of football that the 218 and 222 World Cups will be played. And speaking about Russia, and already some voices coming up to make a boycott or whatever. A boycott in sport never has had any benefit. So therefore, let us wait and see the development of the geopolitical situation, and we shall not intervene in politics. But for the time being, we are working with Russia. I have been there just a fortnight ago, or now 3 weeks ago. I have been there, and we have had a report on the stadia and the work they are doing, and they are on a good track.
It's been a strong point of yours that politics should not interfere with football. When politics interferes with individual associations, you take a very strong stand against that, and you're now being asked in a way to say we won't let the political thing interfere with the World Cup. There's a point of principle there as well as practicality, isn't there? That FIFA should be able to conduct its affairs without that kind of interference.
Absolutely. And when you speak about our intervention, we have now a problem, which is a decision just has been taken concerning Nigeria, because there was really a political interference. But on the other hand, FIFA can help to find a solution in the benefit of football. And we did it in the island of Cyprus, where now the Greek part and the Turkish part, they can play football, club football, amongst them. There is no more wall in between. This is a benefit of football that has helped that. We are trying to help and to bring a solution, which is now really, really difficult, but we go on between Israel and Palestine. Yes. So here football can help, but football cannot be, let's say, the driving force to try to find political solutions, because what is the aim of football is to work for a better world. And this is what we are doing and trying with all the development programs.
So you'll have to keep an eye, if I can conclude Russia, you'll have to keep an eye on what is happening in the east there. But
yeah, absolutely. We are monitoring all that, but we are not interfering. For the time being, we are strong to maintain the organization of the World Cup 218 in Russia, and the other one 222 in Qatar. Concerning Qatar, we still await also the the report of FIFA's ethics committee. They have made an in-depth the investigation, and we are waiting the results of this during this month or the next month.
So it's fairly imminent. Is he satisfied, Mr. Garcia, with the responses he's had now that his information is complete?
Ask him. Ask him, because really this ethics committee is totally independent, and Mr. Garcia does not like, even if the president should ask him what he's doing and what is coming out. But anyway, for the procedure, we have to say that Mr. Garcia, he is the chair of the investigatory chamber, and the investigatory chamber will give the report to the tribunal. And this tribunal, the adjudicatory chamber, and this is another boss there, and he's a high judge of Bavaria, and this is Mr. Eckert. And finally, he has then to take the decision, and the decision will then be communicated to the FIFA Executive Committee, and then to the vote.
You appear very comfortable with this being a completely independent inquiry. There's going to be transparent. Is that in some ways a rebuke to the people who cast aspersions on the Qatari bid decision, the talk of allegations of corruption, none of which relate to you at all, but you're very happy to accept completely independent?
Yeah, absolutely, and this was my idea in 2011 when FIFA was under threat and attacks and criticism. Then I said at this committee, no, at the Congress 2011 here in Zurich, at the end of the Congress, I said we will have an independent committee for ethics with 2 chambers. We already had a committee, but it was not independent. And we have started with the work. We have also started in transparency, because we also wanted to have a committee for control and compliance, which is also installed now. And transparency and ethics are 2 items that we need in our world, and especially in the world of football, when we take the big figures in football, 300 million active participants with their families, 1.2 billion, there cannot all be angels around there.
Can we, on Qatar, there's been criticism also of its selection as a small Gulf state and the location of stadia and the kind of impact it will have. We saw a fantastic cultural experience in Brazil. Tell me how confident you are of the success of a World Cup in that environment.
Well, listen, in the rotation of the World Cup, it was obvious that one day we should give the World Cup also to the Arabic world. And then it was a decision taken on the 2nd of December in 2010 by an executive committee which was reduced to 22 members at that time. And this was a democratic decision taken by secret ballot. And this was the decision. And now we have to make the best of it in order to show that also a small country can deliver a World Cup.
Yes.
It's a challenge.
It is a challenge. I understand the missionary zeal aspect of it, of taking football around the world. It complicates things for you in some ways, because there's inevitably criticism from the bigger areas of football. The old powers want more World Cups for themselves. But the missionary aspect trumps pretty well everything in that decision, doesn't it? The need to expand the game to all corners and to improve it.
Especially the World Cup. And with the other competitions, we are going to smaller countries. And one revolutionary decision we have taken in FIFA is to play the Under-17 Women's World Cup, Under-17, in 2016, in the middle of the Arabic world in Jordan, in the Kingdom of Jordan. And this will be, when you look at just now at the international map, geopolitical map, and we are going to play there a women's competition, this will have a big impact on the whole region and on the development of women's football, but also on the development of women in the other culture, which is the Islamic culture.
I would believe that's true, because FIFA now is a medium-sized government, and governments can have beneficial or poor influences. And if you can achieve some kind of breakthrough in that area, it would be quite something for football, wouldn't it?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, and this is the aim behind that. This is the aim.
There's been one suggestion that some of the bigger clubs, for example, in Europe, might ask their players to boycott the national teams and not play in a World Cup if there were still problems when these tournaments came around. Personally, I don't see any prospect, particularly after Brazil, of any great players in Europe saying they don't want to play in the World Cup, but I'd be interested in your impression of that.
I was a player, but not a player at the level of the World Cup. But I think the players, they want to go to the World Cup, and they would not deliberately to say we are not going to the highlight of our career. Everybody wants to play in the World Cup.
Yes,
I think a boycott by the players, no, I don't believe that.